recorded in Indianapolis, Indiana.
That's not gonna work.
This show features real-life stories of Indiana's most infamous horrors, Circle City serial killers, and crimes, both current and cold. I sit down and interview people who know these crimes and even family members of the victims. Hospitality.
and then turn into that house's driveway and turn around, just to see where this goes.
15, slight right toward west
So it
252
says
north.
no outlet.
Slight right toward west 252 north.
Hey guys, we're not getting started just yet. I'm just playing with you a few things. Welcome in, come on in. Quester will be here in about 10 minutes. I'm finishing up with the PowerPoint and just playing with some videos. So hang out, check back in a few, but in the meantime, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and share. Hey Quester, he's here early. I'm just playing some videos for the moment while I'm finishing up this Well, I'm finishing up the PowerPoint. I'm just playing some videos, giving people time to get in here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're ready? Okay, give me just a few more minutes.
Welcome to Case by Case. We got that fire. I'm on a mission, mind in position. No witness, just a puzzle and a premonition. Facts hit the pavement, no hesitation. Reading between the lines, the investigation. Case by case, got that fire. Fire. Case by case, got that fire. Oh yeah. Case by case, got that fire. That's right, yeah, 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 yeah. Zooming on the details, got the magnifier. Digging through the dark, taking it higher. No room for doubt, no place to retire. Burning through the evidence, a digital pyre. Case by case, got that fire. Get it? Case by case, got that fire.
Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Case by Case, the Delphi Vault, episode 40, flippin' 2. Holy cow. Does it seem like it's been that many to you, Quester? Grismatically, hello, the music master. Thank you for
No,
that.
seems like it's been about 50.
Does it?
No. No.
You would think that we would run out of discussions, but I guess we do. We just keep digging. So that's all we can do until we make progress.
True.
So we have a lot to talk about today. How's everybody doing in chat? Hope you guys have hit that like, share, and subscribe. We've got, well, let's see. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about today is going to be a little bit of rehashing over some things that we've already discussed, maybe with some new developed arguments. Let's start with this fantastic piece of shit right here. I'm still trying to figure out what the exact connection is. If anybody in chat knows for sure, tell me how you know, but this is reportedly either Libby's uncle or Libby's cousin. Now, I see on his, where did I go? I must want to put it on here. On Carrie Timmons' Facebook page that he's listed as a cousin. So that would make him a second cousin to Libby. But this is Adam Bridge. He has just been arrested on 78 counts of child exploitation. And he's being held in the Carroll County Jail. Nick McClelland and Stacy Diener are listed as attorneys on the case. But he only has a bond of $50,000, which is incredible to me, with 78 charges. They bring, I think of this, let me read this to you guys. Adam Bridge, age 40 of Flora, is being held in the Carroll County Jail on a $50,000 cash-only bond on a warrant from Carroll Circuit Court. He is charged with 53 counts of level 5 felony child exploitation, alleged he managed, produced, or otherwise created visual depictions involving minors between December 8th of 2019 and May 11th of 2025. In 2019, he just became a pedophile. He's 40 years old. Bridge also is charged with 25 counts of level 5 felony possession. Sorry, parrots in the house. Level 5 felony possessions of child sex abuse material with alleged offense dates of July 16th of 2025. According to court records, the bond must be paid in full and does not allow the 10% option. So unless he's got a wealthy family member who's got cash, he probably won't be getting out. But at the same time, $50,000 is a low bar, if you ask me. You said same mom, different dad than Carrie. So this is Carrie's half brother, which makes him Libby's half uncle. Is that how that works? Belly May Day, I can only imagine what's in the Dropbox, but we're never going to see it. I mean, I hate to say that, but we are never going to see it. There is child exploitation in that Dropbox, and that will be the nail in the coffin to keep that Dropbox sealed. So, Questra, where do you want to go next today?
Oh no, I'll follow your lead.
Okay, so last week, you all know that there was, a huge debate over Abby's shoes. And I didn't have it on hand last week, but here it is. This is the photograph that was taken in Monticello when Abby was with her grandpa. And you can see the shoes down here at the bottom. And you see distinctively this left shoe has the horizontal strap. Do you see that, Quester?
I do. Quite clear.
And I tried to zoom in on it, but it gets so pixelated. But I'm sorry, guys. My parrot is barking like a dog. Mike and them just got home, and I heard the garage door open, so he's responding to that. He thinks he's a watchdog, apparently. So one thing I wanted to note on here was Abby was wearing the same shirt. We've talked about this before. But why was she wearing the same shirt? When we listened to Anna in her deposition on Monday. Well, let me skip this and go straight to her testimony. On Monday, Anna says, they left with me from the park. I brought them back to my house because in the car ride to me taking Liberty home, it was asked if she could spend the night. And I said, well, I saw that coming. Sure. She says, well, I have to get Rocky. She says, I have to get stuff. So I took her back to the house to get an overnight bag and paints and crafts. I don't know. They took a bunch of little bags and boxes of stuff out of the house. And then I took them to Mike and Becky. So if Abby stopped and got clothes, why is she wearing the same clothes that she had on the day before that she was playing softball in? And that, I mean, at what point in time did Becky do laundry and wash Abby's shirt and sports bras in order for there to be DNA transfer? Checking chat. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Rocky is definitely on a mission to be heard. Let me pull out some snacks. What do you guys? Okay, so what do you guys think about her left shoe in this picture? I don't have a timestamp, Shabugs.
It has to be the morning of the 12th, doesn't it?
It would have to be, yeah. I mean, because that was when Grandpa took her and bought. Didn't he take her and buy her glove and her ball?
He did.
Like anything in this case, we have. Yeah, Michael. They were getting ready for. I think they were getting ready for softball for the spring. Girls softball would be starting in the spring, and she was, I think, trying to get ready because she had never played before. Michael, check your text messages, please. But to me, I don't understand why she'd be wearing this shirt on Monday, because they stopped and got clothes. Then my next question is, going back over the phone data and stuff that Quester and I have been kind of mulling over this morning. When I was checking Anna's deposition again, it just popped out here to me that says on Monday, Now, remember, her deposition had a lot of pages redacted. So you had to, you know, it was all hit and miss what information we got. But she said on Monday, she was going to stay the night. I called her, or she called me during my break or on my way home from work on Monday, because that would have been at Milner's. That's where Anna worked. So I would have been there at 5 in the morning until 1:30 in the afternoon. And then she was questioned, do you think you were going to pick her up? She called in regards to that, on whether or not she could stay through dinner, or maybe I asked her if I was coming to pick her up, something of that nature. And she asked if she could stay for dinner. I said, well, that depends, because I have to work the bar tonight, but I'm only there through dinner. I'm supposed to be done by 8. So if that's not okay for you to stay that late in the evening, getting ready for school on Tuesday, then I need to pick you up before dinner time and before I go to work. Quester, in any of the phone data, do we have any phone call outgoing to Anna on the morning of the third before 1:30?
There's no phone call. There are SMS messages, but the content of the SMS looks as if it's more Libby asking than Abby,
So
and a lot of what's written there wasn't said.
yeah, they don't provide it, do they?
Nope. The majority of what's on there isn't on the phone list.
Okay. And the day before, we know that Libby was texting Anna or Abby was texting Anna from Libby's phone, asking for her to bring her water.
That's correct, yeah.
Now, see, when you go back and you read Anna's deposition, Anna says that she went to Monticello, picked Abby up, went to Walmart because she had to get her, got it, Michael, had to get her tires fixed. And then she took the girls to the park. And then the girls, here it says, the girls left the park with her and they went to Anna's house. So why would Libby be texting Anna? Or why would Abby be texting Anna to bring her water?
Well, the other thing is,
I'm kind of
Cliff
confused.
said who took her to the park.
Huh?
If you're talking about the 12th, Cliff said he took her to the park. Mind you, so did Derek German.
Okay. I'm going to have to go back and read her testimony, because I believe it says she took Abby. I thought she said she took Abby to the park and got Libby. Libby was brought there, or Libby was already there. She said she couldn't remember. Just trying to figure out the narrative on the 12th and the 13th, and why Anna and Derek German have their wires crossed completely on who did what and when.
Have a quick look.
No, Heidi, it is. It's playing in the background. I can turn it off. I thought I turned it all the way down, but I guess I didn't. Okay. Rocky just said okay. Oh, it's still playing. Why is it playing? I turn it off. There we go. Saturday, okay, Critical Thinker says Saturday the 11th, it was 54 degrees. Sunday, it was 48. And Monday, it was 43. So Sunday was a little, Rocky, stop it. Sunday was a little warmer than Monday. But I guess 48 is, I guess in the dead of winter, that's a nice day, but it's not short sleeve weather day. It's just this is just for me, this is just all kind of coming back up with the whole Derek German testimony about him being the one to pick up the girls, and then coming across the information where they led everyone to believe that Derek was living at the Patty's house when on I believe whatever day it was that he was interviewed, it was the 14th or the 15th, he gave the Milroy Street address as his address.
Yeah, it's very confusing, isn't it?
It is. And
yeah, Cliff said that he and Abby collected Libby, and then he took both of them to the ballpark. Derek said he collected Libby from an overnight, went straight to Abby's house to pick her up. And then Kelsey said she picked Libby up from the overnight, took her to do some geocaching, and then took her to the ballpark. That's and I didn't even mention Anna's version.
Right.
So there's an awful lot of just impossible. Minimum 2 lying there.
And the even more frustrating thing is, like, this was all played out right on the freaking stand. And it was, and it just blew over everyone's brains like nothing, that it wasn't even said. Like back to back witnesses are telling different versions of the events of probably the most horrific, impressionable day of their life. And no one's batting an eye at the differences of stories. Yeah, and no one, exactly, redacted. No one cared to figure out who was wrong. Hopefully going forward, next time around, hopefully Rick gets another trial, that this won't happen again. I mean, I think all of us are going to scream from the rooftops the important things that need to be focused on, and how all of this, you know, can be questioned.
It should have been questioned to find out why they're giving conflicting stories.
And the whole, like, the whole BS, you know, the whole fuckery of Becky just, you know, milking Derek's, you know, fatherhood imagery in the public eye. You know, anything Libby needed, anything Libby wanted, he did. He bent over backwards. He ran her here. He ran her there. He got up that morning and he made her banana pancakes. You know, we all lived, you know, under the same roof, and, you know, da 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 da. And then he doesn't actually live there. And you know damn well that his family was fully aware of the criminal activity that he had been involved in for years and clearly condoned it. I mean, they're taking these 2 girls away from Carrie for whatever reason, but Derek's allowed to live under the same roof. It doesn't make any sense. It does make
you would
sense.
have thought,
they're fake.
you would have thought with the known history of Derek, they wouldn't have allowed him to be near them.
You would have thought, but there's no way that they couldn't. I mean, come on, it's Delphi. Everybody knows what's going on in Delphi. And how many times did he have to get arrested for meth? And his parents didn't, and she didn't know, his mother didn't know, Mike didn't know. Yeah, and they're all exactly redacted. I'm just going to put that on the screen real quick. Exactly, and it's all unidentified. But we do know Derek was DNA swabbed, but we don't know if he was tested.
Why believe Abby's family either? Well, good question. You shouldn't, not until it's proven that they're correct.
Chelsea says, I believe Abby's, okay, no, wait a minute. I was right, Googled it. The high was 74, the low was 43, Critter Mama says. On what day was it 74? Was it 74? I didn't think it was that warm. Under your scars, they can just they can actually scan the barcode at the top of the screen. I mean, I've started to look into some of Becky's properties. I mean, I looked at them a long time ago, but I was trying to actually figure out who. The one thing I have figured out is that there is a lot of the homes on Milroy Street are rental properties, including Bree Weber's house that they were living in. Cheryl Loeffler also lived on Samuel Milroy, just at the other end. But there's a lot of rental properties on Samuel Milroy. And I was thinking that maybe Betsy owned some of them, or Becky owned some of them, but I haven't come across any on that street.
Saturday was a high at 63 midday. Sunday's high was 50 midday. Monday's was 45.
Okay.
But from Saturday, it just went down.
I don't believe Critter Mama. I don't believe. So that's another thing that we looked at. Remember, Quester? We looked at because Critter Mama is saying that it was foggy because of the drop in the temperature, and
apparently no fog though.
Huh?
Apparently there was no fog that day.
Well, we looked into that, and there wasn't supposed to be, and there absolutely wasn't supposed to be at 3:00 in the afternoon when Cheyenne said the photo that she posted was from that time, and it was nothing but fog. Don't get me started about the whole Cheyenne group again.
And there was no fog when Bree took her photographs.
Thank you, April. Yeah, you guys from the weather app. Sunday on the 13th was 48 degrees. Monday was 45. Low. Sunday night was 30. Monday night into Tuesday, the low was 32. I mean, I would love to know at 32 degrees, isn't that right that's like freezing. So if the girls were soaking wet, that would have been something I would have felt would have been very notated by the crime scene techs. Wouldn't the clothes have been almost froze solid? Can you imagine a pair of wet jeans freezing overnight and they would be solid as a rock?
And even by midday, there should still have been ice in them.
I hate to say it like this, but even frozen to the ground.
Yeah. Leaves stuck to them, all sorts of things, yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. So let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to go into this because we've gone over it before, but for me, the importance of this, I just can't overstate it enough. I've been harping about this bridge pick. Oh, okay. Sorry. One more look at Abby's shoes I have in here. Left shoe, left shoe. Left shoe off the bridge, left shoe on the bridge. Right. The right-hand side is obviously on. You see the left shoe there. And there's a debate on what this would look like in the motion of walking. But on this image here, see the red line? She has her left shoe, that horizontal lacing going over top the keyholes of her shoes. That horizontal line, it's not an under thread, she has an over laced. I would think you could absolutely see that on the bridge. I mean, it's not there. What do you guys think in chat? Do you think it's just a nothing burger? So Shabugi says, I believe, I mean, and that's a good analogy. Shabugi says, I believe the first straight lace is meshing in with the white of the toe, like at the front of the shoe. So how, but when you look at, okay, so respectful debate, when you look at her left shoe, when she's off the bridge, you see the distance between the shoelace and the toe of the shoe that's white. And you see how close the white lace is to the second row of crisscross laces.
Amy,
yes.
If you look at the one on the left, you can see it. It describes like a letter K, doesn't it? Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. We'll see.
You cannot make a K on the other one.
No, and there.
If you said that the white of the shoe was hiding it,
right,
it would still not be able to form a K from that point either. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So it's just frustrating, because we know that there's something wrong with this video and this 207 photograph, that in this image here, it does almost appear that she does have possibly her right shoe and her left shoe laced differently. But we are focused in this graph, the left shoe on the bridge, and this is her left foot stepping off the bridge into the gravel. And not that this argument would probably ever make its way to a jury. It's just the anomalies that come with all of this, all of these little things that give us reason to actually nitpick so bad at all of these things that we find discrepancies with. See, I'm one for that looks different to me. I feel the white shoelace that is the vertical, the first lace that goes vertical is very close to the second row of laces. There's too much black in this right photograph. There's too much black showing between the second row of shoelaces if the first one is just blended in with the white rubber of the toe of the shoe. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. So, whoops. Where am I at here? Well, yeah, Libby's shoes are concerning as well. Shibugi says, see how there's a wider blur to the left side above the solid white? Are you saying left side in the picture or Abby's left side? I clearly see what you're saying, Shabugs. The argument can go both ways.
Yeah, but like I said, if that was the crossover lace, then you should be describing a K from the middle of it. to the first set of eyes, but it's not. A K is not there.
Critical Thinker says she found a picture of Libby's black and white Nikes. One shoe anyway, and it looks older than the ones in the creek. The pictures of the white the white soled Nikes in the creek, those don't appear to have walked through the creek either. The soles of those shoes are pure white, and just like the bottoms of Abby's or the bottoms of Libby's feet are perfectly clean. They're not cut up. If she was up walking around after her injury, then she would have most likely, stepped in her own blood. Her feet look white. Her feet look clean. It's like her shoes and socks were taken off, and she was put there.
I don't know how you keep your shoes clean when you walk through the creek and up a muddy bank.
I'm just reading through the chat here. The main thing wrong with the video, this is Skin Row. He says the main thing wrong with the video is that dumbass command decided it was the only way to solve the crime. Once they saw this, they did zero detective work, put way too much stock in it.
Yeah, and then they tied everything around it, didn't they?
They tried to, yeah. Trinity says they are completely tied differently in the photo on the bridge. The shoelaces run underneath and inward, while in the other picture, they go outward. Well, she had to have changed them at some point in a matter of 24 hours. If Trinity, you're referring to the photo on the 12th versus these, or I don't know if you're referring to these two different pictures that were taken supposedly moments apart.
Well, if I remember rightly, I'd have to check to be sure. The photograph of Abby when she was halfway across the bridge and these photos, at some point, the tongues of the shoes changed from black to white or white to black.
Hello, Monday. Yeah, there's a little bit of a discrepancy too on what color tongue Abby has. To me, in this photograph, it appears her tongue. I can't tell because it looks like the jeans are covering it, and the jeans are folded, and I can't tell if those jeans are the same jeans she has on here. They don't look as dark. These look blue. These look black. Is that a rip in her knee on her right leg in this photo? Can anyone tell?
I think it's just crinkled up. There's a fair amount of crinkle there for skinny trousers, aren't there?
Kayla, did you just email it to me? Okay. Oh, yeah. But this is, okay. This is not, okay. I should have uploaded these. The photo that you sent me, Kayla, does not have Abby in it. The heads are cut off. But that's not a picture of Abby. I'll show you. Let me pull up the real picture. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna. So there's a picture of a group of girls. Actually, me and April and Quester were talking about this week. So hold on. Let me get it. Keep talking, Quester. Give me a second to pull these up.
Yeah, the questions about it being too cold. If you look on the side of the picture, there's a fairly hefty jacket there, so it's more than likely she was wearing that, and she's just taken that off to play ball, I would have thought, which is fair enough.
So let me see here. Save image as. There's this one. And there's this one. So the pictures, this is the picture that a lot of people have used to discuss the shoes. But a lot of times the picture comes through, the picture's shared without the girls' faces. And this is not Abby.
No, it's not.
And let me see. This is the photo that's circulated. Let me see. Loads. Wait a second here. You get back. So overall, so as I'm pulling this up, guys, overall thoughts. Is the shoe a nothing burger, or do you guys think there's absolutely an issue with what we're seeing? Hey, Christopher. Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie gifted 5 memberships, guys. So if you get a free membership, thanks, Stephanie. And Grismatically gifted one earlier today, too. So make sure you thank them in the chat.
And you can see Abby's shoes there. If you look at the nose, you can see they're not new, are they?
So who is this? Hold on a second. Critical thinker said it's nothing to the court, but it's critical to her. I agree.
Yeah.
I think
the court won't let it prove anything. Not on its own.
Okay, so I have somebody right now who is related to the girls somehow, and she's going through photos right now as we speak. Yeah, this picture right here is not of Abby. This picture is of a different girl. I'm not exactly sure what day, but these are the girls in that photo. Skin Rose says there could be something there, but I'm a bit more interested in Oberg being threatened. That hasn't gone anywhere. I mean, I seen it. I was sent the screenshots and all of that, but I haven't seen that story evolve. And does anyone know, has anyone done any homework there? I didn't get a lot done this week at all, by the way. My daughter had her baby this week. So my second granddaughter was born. Beautiful as can be. But so I haven't really gotten to dig into a whole lot. But has anyone found out if Oberg has left ISP? And that might be why it's now being stated. I mean, it's been over a year, and her not working there anymore would be a good reason for her to start talking. Thanks, guys. Yes, 7 pounds, 9 ounces, born on the 17th. So Oberg's husband, didn't I go over this, Quester?
You did?
Did I have it in the Vault series?
I think it was in, not the last one, the one before, I think.
Okay. Don't talk to me like that, Breeze. Let me see. So Oberg's husband. Okay, Critical Thinker says Oberg left a while ago. Oh, well, that could be why she's might be talking, or at least her husband is talking. She don't have to worry about getting fired. Apparently, her husband has made some online posts. And he said that the testimony that she gave at trial, she was threatened to give. She gave the testimony because she was threatened. He doesn't say in what way, shape, or fashion that she was threatened and on which part. I mean, obviously, she testified about the bullshit bullet. But yeah, her. Can you show the screenshot? I got to find it. I can't remember if I put it in. If it's in here. Okay, it's not in here. Let me see if I can pull it up. But it is. I have been able to confirm it is her husband. Oh, here we go. Got it. So let me kick that out.
That's an interesting comment by Delphi. Carroll County Comet called her former ISP during the trial.
So she had quit there before she even testified.
Would seem so, if that's what they called her, yeah.
So this is her husband. And this was what I was sent. Make sure it's the right one. Brian Hanna posted. Brian Hanna, and I think this was on her husband's wall on Facebook, but Brian Hanna said, just wait. We know the lab tech was threatened to give that false testimony. Her husband has been speaking up about it. I can't see Oberg's, I can't see his Facebook wall because it looks like he's got a private page. So let me see. There might be one more. Yeah. That's him. So hopefully they've reached out to the right people to tell their side of things. It's too damn bad she didn't do it before she took the stand. Yeah, Libby is, and that's one thing that Chelsea kept making it a point about when she was doing several of her interviews, how strong Libby was and how big Libby was. And that's why I know I'm going to do a whole live on the crime scene, because that's one area of this case we have not really discussed. And it's because I'm just really, hey, Mother of Dragons, I'm just really annoyed at the fact that we don't have access to actual crime scene photos. I'm not saying that we need to see the worst of the worst, but there's hundreds of crime scene photos, and the pools of blood, the area around the girls, those should be when we're just having to take someone's word for it. And like I said before, I believe both girls had to have been restrained. Libby had to have been restrained. You don't have, when you go back and you read Dr. Kaur's testimony, and he describes her injuries, no 200-pound girl whose life is literally hanging in the balance is going to stand there and let someone slash at them 4 to 5 times at their throat and not put their hands up to defend themselves. Libby has no defensive wounds whatsoever on her hands. No cuts, no bruises, nothing. She had to have been restrained. And if they don't have any ligature marks around their wrists and no ligature marks around their neck, like, being tied to a tree or their arms being tied behind their back. And even think of this, if your arms are restrained, either by, let's go with Reese's story, the girls were handcuffed. However, they weren't handcuffed separately. They were handcuffed wrist to wrist. They were handcuffed together. So they each supposedly, if you believe what Logan told Reese, each girl had one arm free to defend themselves. But if your arms are restrained behind your back and you're being attacked, you are going to fight, even though your arms can't get free. There would be bruising. There would be ligature marks around the wrists. There would be something, and there's nothing. That is shocking to me. The same thing goes with Abby. And Abby, the state even said they believe that Abby was killed exactly where she was found and that she was held down. Okay, well, how does one hold down a girl? Now, mind you, this is all taking place while there's people on the bridge. Phones ringing, Dad's calling, Becky's now calling. Unless Libby's phone was on silent, you would think someone would be hearing this phone ringing in the woods right across the creek. But how is one going to hold Abby down in the position of like that fighter stance position, stop her from screaming and cut her throat at the same time? And not leave any DNA. That is a struggle. She would be kicking and screaming for her life.
But it seems to me that the only way you could achieve all of those things without leaving DNA would be drugs.
Or multiple people restraining the girls.
But then there would be DNA.
You would think. Well, look at the Nancy Guthrie case. They literally just sent rootless hairs off to the FBI to be snip test, because now the forensics are able to get DNA out of rootless hairs. And remind me, guys, in chat before we go, remind me in chat to bring up Sheena Dillon again. I don't want to jump there right away because we're talking about this. And there was a mark on Abby's mouth. So could she have been possibly gagged? I mean, I guess she could have been. To me, the fight that these little girls would have put up, I feel like there would have been injuries. Yeah, well, they have not. I mean, they didn't find Rick's DNA, but we got a lot of rootless hairs that could have been tested, and they're still, to be honest, the one thing that I feel in this case would I mean, it's a wing and a prayer to ever get the court to agree to do it, because we're in a position now to where it's just not a matter of the defense or going forward, whoever is on Rick's case, they can't just say retest the DNA. We want these items tested. It's a motion. They have to request it. Then the state gets to argue why it shouldn't happen, and then the judge gets to rule.
But if you think about it, they've got some already tested enough that they could say it doesn't tie with Rick Allen. So why can't they say it doesn't tie with Mike Patty, Derek German, Cody, any of those from the same test?
Right. And you know what? Well, and I'll be honest, critical thinker, I get so frustrated listening to them. I'm talking about Ajay and Baldwin, that I can't hardly listen when they're talking about the case because of their lack of thorough knowledge of the case. I mean, I'm not 100% accurate all the time on my knowledge of the case either. Sometimes I have to correct myself, but that's their job. And when did they go back and look at autopsy photos? That should have been done before trial. And if they're coming out now after the fact saying that they saw injuries to the girls, well, that's too goddamn bad, isn't it? And even that, if the girls, like I said, if the girls were restrained, that person either had help or came there prepared because he knew the girls were going to be there, and he was there with whatever he had bulging in his coat to restrain. Everybody says hi, Rocky. There's kids outside across the street playing. I don't know if you can hear them, but he's interacting with the kids across the street. He thinks that they can hear him.
When you think about the amount of kit this one man would have had to carry, there's quite a lot. And Ellie seemed to think that it was a spur of the moment action. So it must follow that this man, single man, generally goes out walking and carrying a haversack full of weapons, handcuffs, gaffer tape, etc. Doesn't really sound true, does it?
No. And I mean, I would love to see the autopsy photos, simply for the mere fact that, just like Michael said, why did the bozo testify that the Converse shoes were muddy? They don't look muddy. I mean, the whites of her soles still look white, and being canvas material like Converse are, they would have been saturated with mud and dirt. And guess what else would have been too? Abby's feet inside that shoe. Both girls, shoe on or shoe off, crossing that creek in the green muck, slimy. I mean, you step in it, you sink in it. I mean, go look at when Breeze fell in the creek, when she just stepped in it. When we pulled her up out of there, her legs were pitch black. Her hair was saturated with a black mud. And we were right there under the bridge. Exactly. Diatoms, they could be tested for diatoms. But think about that. Like, how did he get them across the creek? Shoes on, shoes off, clothes on, clothes off, no cuts on the feet, no mud under the toenails, no feet. I mean, they should have been up to their at least their shins, filthy dirty. Abby should have been a 200-pound girl, naked, literally stomping across the creek, trying to get through. I mean, you know that Jake Johnson them said that the next morning when they seen the clothes in the water, the tie-dyed shirt across the creek, when they saw it, they attempted to cross the creek, but it was too high. Libby's feet would have sunk down in that mud. And then she would have had to have climbed up that little embankment that it's not tall, but it was muddy. It does not make sense. The arguments could have been made in front of the jury to basically disprove this crime happened the way the state did. And the defense doesn't have to prove how it happened. All they have to prove is that it didn't happen the way the state said. There should have been tracks coming out of the creek from all of them. But you know what? Put that into the basket of bullshit that law enforcement tried to sell us for $1. And that was, well, we saw footprints and stuff, but we didn't really pay them much mind because we thought they were searchers. Oh, searchers were over there? Mm-hmm. Searchers were over there. Searchers were over there at night. And when you actually visit the crime scene, if you're standing across the creek from where the crime scene is and you would have had a flashlight and shined it, you could have more than likely seen them. They weren't that far back from the creek. And Libby being nude without a summer tan, pure white, laying on that dark forest ground, she could have been seen. That's why all of these little cutesy little statements that they put in their response to the direct appeal, the girls were found X amount of feet back from the creek, hidden behind mature trees. No, they were not. There are skinny trees in front of where the crime scene is. Yeah, and you know what? And Skinrow, you might be right about, the jury convicted him on day one. I just think the right attorney with the right arguments could have proven him innocent. And that's so frustrating because now it is literally a straight uphill climb. So let's talk. So let's talk about. Let me pull this up here. So, speaking of the crime scene, this is the embankment right in front of the crime scene, looking out over the water. You see how steep it is not. And Fungi did do a great diagram of where the crime, and that's on the left-hand side here, of where the crime scene is versus where from all of these, and we're not saying that there was a law enforcement officer or a searcher in any of these places, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or A, B, C, or D. What we're showing you is that the crime scene would have been viewable from any of these locations. I don't think they were there. I don't think they were there on the night of the 13th. Now, I think they were taken there sometime. I mean, I really do believe that the 2 a.m. screams that Miller heard were connected to this. And we are still digging in. I'm trying to get a day that Skip is free, to get Skip to come on and talk about Tina Garrison, and the significance of this information. So I must have missed the bus when all of this came out. You said, Amy, that sound you make sounds like the intro to Terminator. What sound? Did I make a sound? Or was it Rocky? Shabook says, I have a theory they may have come back between 10 and 12. There's Ron taking a phone call around the same time of some other call of other cell activity from an unknown phone. Like they were telling him they're coming back. I mean, yeah, I mean, I exactly. But I think the 2 a.m. scream was connected. But this Tina Garrison report, I figured maybe some of you already know, and didn't have the heart to tell me last week when I brought it up, because it's been out there. But she's a realtor from Delphi, and Andrew Baldwin entered her. He called it the Garrison report, and it's not. And so basically, it wasn't a report that she made. It was, they called it the Garrison report because she was a witness that came forward claiming she was wanting to be an eyewitness about the vehicles that she saw around the trails that day. Now, she lives directly across from Ron Logan. So if you're standing on Ron Logan's front porch and you look across the field and you see the cell phone tower, back behind that cell phone tower on the curve is where her property is. And they did get camera footage from her house as well. So one of the vehicles that she claimed that she saw that day by the trails was a white truck. So so let's talk about this picture and why we've kind of just sunk our teeth into it a little bit more. I know we've talked about this before, but Quester and I have gone over this GPS you guys know, for weeks we went over the GPS. And the issue with the GPS that we found obviously was the fact that Libby, the GPS, wasn't available when the girls pulled up at Mears, and it didn't become available until they popped up on the trails at 1:51 and 50 seconds. Then we get another GPS location ping at the same spot at 1:51 and 22 seconds. Then there's another one at 2:05 and 8 seconds in this same general area. And the reason that that's important is because when the bridge photo was taken, the bridge photo was supposedly uploaded at 2:05 and 10 seconds. And our issue has been, how did they travel? Okay, where am I going here with all my stuff? What did I do? Oh, sorry, guys. Is how did they get from here in front of the bridge at 2:05? We're seeing apps being used, but we don't, and here, Quester, I have a question for you, because this is one thing that I've gone back through again for the 100th time. And we know that there were photos in the camera roll, but throughout all of the phone data that we have, we don't see camera being used anywhere. So how are you deciphering a phone event from a photo being taken?
Right. The iPhone 6, unless you physically change the settings, whenever you use the camera, it would automatically go for a geolocation. At the time in 2017, there were no other apps or whatever that would do that on an iPhone 6. Therefore, it follows, whenever you see a geolocation, the camera was in use for one reason or another.
Were we not? So we're not getting geolocation from Snapchat?
No. Many times Snapchat was used and it didn't geolocate. So it must be that Libby had that turned off. But also some of these geolocations are while Snapchat is closed anyway.
So back to the point of why this isn't, this frustrates us, is because this photo right here, this left-hand side photo of the bridge, this photo was taken in 2008. It's even notated on the photo in the exhibit. Right here it says, views of the old railroad bridge of the Monon High Bridge Trail, taken Delphi, Indiana, April, I think it's 5th or April 3rd.
Like it, yeah.
April 5th of 2008. So then we did some comparisons of the bridge. Do you want to talk them through this?
Certainly. Well, number one, it's supposed to be the 2017 photograph by Libby.
And
Number
guys,
two,
sorry, question. I don't mean to interrupt. Just guys, really quick, ignore the filters. These are the original photos that we've got, and these were the filters that were put on the phones, or that were used in these photographs. What we're looking at is the foreground of the entire photograph. Go ahead, Quester.
Okay. Photo number 2 is that 2008 photograph which you were just shown. Now, obviously that's been blown up to be the same size so that you can compare them. If you compare the skyline of the trees, the trees growing on the left side, and even the stains on the woodwork, they are remarkably similar. Number 3 is a screenshot by Carl Smith in 2017, which, as you can see, says Liberty German. Again, if you compare everything, you can see there's not much change in the trees, all that sort of stuff. So what we did is I overlaid. I took the 2008 photograph and I removed sections of it, that T-shape, etc. And then I overlaid the 2017 on it to see how well they matched. And as you can see, they match absolutely perfectly to the dot. Now the chances on somebody in 2017 taking a photograph absolutely exactly the same as one that was taken in 2008 with the tree line being exactly the same. None of the trees have grown or anything in those, 9 years. What's the chances? 0.
Now, take a look at this. Oops.
What?
Hold on. Let me get there. Let me get there. Okay. This photo was taken in May of September 5th of 2022. 5 years later.
A lot
Then
of growth.
a lot of
Hello?
well, crap, I just got kicked out. Hold on. Now look at this one.
The one in the center, I presume you meant.
Right here. This, see all this growth? This was taken, oops, on April 11th of 2017. Two months after the murders. And we are supposed to believe that there was no growth around this bridge for 9 years. Hold on, I'm pulling it back up here. Okay, keep going, Quester.
That's in reference to that skyline, isn't it? 2008, 2017, 9 years, and apparently not a single leaf has grown in those 9 years. Don't believe it. But the problem with this is, sorry?
I was telling,
This
oh,
PDF.
hold on.
And
Sorry, keep going. I think Shaboogies was saying she wanted to go to the south end of the bridge. I said, let's go. Go ahead, Quester.
Now, there's a conundrum here. That 2008 picture taken in 2008, okay. At 2017 is supposed to be on Libby's phone. Well, how old was Libby in 2008? 6? And her phone didn't exist then. She would not have been taking photographs in 2008. So what is that phone doing on, what is that photo doing on Libby's phone in 2017?
It's too, like, could she have seen it somewhere and saved it to her phone and walked up to the bridge and posted it as if, instead of taking the photo herself, she just uploaded an existing pic she had in her camera roll? I mean, there's multiple I think there's multiple ways this could have happened, but it just seems to me
They're all pretty far-fetched otherwise, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
You would have had to have seen this somewhere and decided, that's a pretty picture, I'm going to put it on my phone. Which, fair enough, okay, she might have done. But then why is it in her memories? And why is she showing that instead of a photograph she could have taken?
We don't know. It's just these two images are uncanny. When you look at the difference, like they look like they're damn near the same photograph. And this is
Brought him here. And so if our goal,
this is how the overlay was done. And if both pictures were in the same filtration, would they be the same photograph?
Certainly would be.
I mean, even right down to the wood rot. Redacted, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Were they even there at all?
But then if somebody else put it there, then this says it was a well-prepared operation. Why would somebody be having this picture?
So, somebody the other day that I was talking to said proof of life. Like, was this,
Yep.
these photographs of the girls posted online? Okay, so look, what I mean, think of it like this. If somebody planned this and needed time to get away with the girls, get out of Dodge, would photos be uploaded to make family members and the public think everything's okay and the girls are where they're supposed to be?
Right. However, if you think about what that means that they were getting out of Dodge before 2:05. If they're setting these pictures up now at 2:05, then the event had happened before that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So these photos, if we followed what you're saying, which is a valid thing to say, they would say that the event was while they were on the trails or before, but certainly before they got on the bridge. The kidnapping, the complete event, but whatever. These photographs are to play for time, to distract. And you don't do that if there's nothing to distract for.
And that's why this time frame right here is so suspect. And you've got, so when you look at the phone logs, let me see here. You've got the girls popping out on the trails at 1:51. Wait a minute. No.
Well,
do I have these in the
on
wrong
our
order?
place a lot, but we have to remember that is not the girls, that is
The phone.
the account. It could be any phone used in the account. Those locations are probably the phone. Yes.
All right. So if you look here, we've got 15108 movement, 15108 movement, 15122 location. We get that. That's where this comes in right here on the trail, 15122. Then you've got location. You got the location, then it's got screen on, 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 screen on. And then at 2:09 seconds, you have movement.
And bear in mind, They're supposed to have been dropped off at 1:48. 3 minutes later, they were down the trails there. They certainly moved fast, didn't they?
They moved fast, and then from the 2000, from the, not the 2000, but the 2:05 and 10-second photo, there's 2 minutes in between that photo supposedly being taken and uploaded to them getting more than halfway across the bridge and the 2:07 photo of Abby being taken. However, from there, it took Abby 6 minutes to get less than halfway across the bridge from where the 2:07 photo was taken to where we see her in the BD video at 2:13. And when you do the math and you do how tall she was, she's 64 inches, heel to toe, 2.2 feet on a flat grid. Her strides would be considered on railroad ties and spacing. On the Moon High Bridge, you're likely to take a 1.6 foot per step. 568 feet at 1.6 foot equals 355 across. Her walking cautiously should have only taken her 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Brisk movement would have taken her 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Yet there's a 6 minute gap. 2:07 and 20 seconds, the Snapchat photo, and 2:13:51, the video starts. 6 minutes and 38 seconds it took her to get less than halfway across the bridge. But it only took her 2 minutes to get more than halfway across the bridge based on the pictures. It's all food for thought. So what do you guys think? And I have a hypothesis. I want you to come on here so bad and talk about your theory. You don't have to show your face. You can use your avatar. But I'm curious to know about your theory about this photo of Abby on the bridge and you calling it a photo album.
Well, I think I is correct in the way the feet are moving. If you were unsure and walking on those, you wouldn't walk heel toe. You'd put your foot down flat to be certain, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd agree with I on that. But you've got so many strange things, like you've got Libby at the end, so concerned about this man walking behind Abby, was she, that she turned the camera away from it to look at the stones on the ground.
Right. And then
didn't turn it back again.
And right, yep. She didn't turn back around. And and the other thing that has always bothered me is the fingerprint attempt to unlock the phone and it not working. I mean, with iPhones and your thumbprint, it's not often that you get a phone that doesn't open when you just touch it with your thumb. And she had two fingers. Her right and left hands dialed in that phone.
Cecil said that there were 6 fingerprint in there for opening it, but he only identified the 3. So one has to wonder what the other 3 were that he didn't want to identify.
Well, I also wonder if somebody else was holding the phone that didn't have access to hold the phone and hit that button, and the phone automatically just registered the default that it wasn't, the thumbprint didn't work.
Well, sometimes thumbprint won't work if I don't know, if it's wet or dirty or you're sweating, I don't know. It can happen, but then you'd try again, wouldn't you? You'd wipe your thumb and do it again.
Huh? What'd you say?
I said sometimes putting your thumb on it doesn't work because you might be sweaty, you might be dirty, the screen might be dirty, all sorts of things. But
You would just
you'd wipe the dirt off. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It seems just odd. Why would you be trying to open it with your thumb if it's already open because you're doing a video? I think that's the only time that it's registered that it was tried to be opened by a thumb.
Right. Yeah, Hella does do good work. The problem, the GPS is, we need someone to review the entire extraction, who knows what they're looking at, from beginning to end, not just, after the girls, not just after the video, to see what's going on with the phone, because it is so absurd to think that we have all of this information that's accurate leading up to this exact time, and then shit just goes haywire. And we really can't pin our finger on it. All we can do is point out the anomalies, which is why we keep harping on them, because we want someone to make them make sense. Michael said the bridge stuff. Yeah. She can take a look at it. Precascent, please. I can put you in contact with Michael. I mean, and Eldridge saying on the interviews that she did, the public interviews after the trial, that she believed there was more movement on the phone after 2:32. One of these things is the key to unlocking the door for Rick. I don't think.
There is an awful lot missing from the stuff that we're being given. That is quite obvious from the lists. There are holes in there. Yes,
and there's intentional holes. And between this stuff, the phone, at this point, the only way I believe we're going to be able to ever prove who did it is if we get more DNA testing done. And MVAC is really the answer to this case, simply. And that's how we got sidetracked on the crime scene, because we're relying on a lab tech to take snippets of clothing. MVAC is literally going to scan front and back the entire piece of fabric and collect any DNA. In the snippets that she took to test, she may have missed 4 or 5 spots. So MVAC would definitely be an answer to all of this. And then the rootless hair, the snip testing that's available now. And I know that we all have our theories. Those of you, William Ray, people who believe the girls were killed the night before. I've seen some people in the chat talking about this militia party or meeting at Ron Logan's the night before. That has circulated for years. There's just no proof. And the girls, there's too much activity on the phone for me to believe personally the girls were killed on the 12th. Michael Osbrook says, Eldred says the hash values show the phone data was not tampered with, but I have questions. Well,
Don't blame him.
Right. I think we all have questions, and the bigger questions that we have is that what the jury was left with and what we were given as the public are reports. And so the reports are piecemealed. Who knows what's actually in the data that they didn't feel like showing us, just like they didn't feel like showing us the white van video, just like they tried to sell us a can of goods on when Brad Weber got home. They cherry picked what they wanted the jury to hear, and they were continuing to rely on the judge, completely denying the defense any money for experts, and that they couldn't argue it. And the defense made the mistake of not spending the additional money to have the full extractions examined.
The idea that the document is not tampered with because of the hashes is well, it's visible, to be honest. If you tampered with it, you'd make sure that that the hashes supported what you're doing, wouldn't you? And we know that terabyte can be messed with.
And and then you still have to back up the arguments that we're making here. Not that they're Eldridge also said that there was a lot more she could have said but was not asked. That's another problem. Again, that comes down to there being the right attorney, asking all the right questions, but trying to back up, the arguments that we're saying here, in order to sell this theory to a jury, you're going to have to do a lot of technological proving, when you're trying to show that the 207 photo is a fake, or the 205 photo was a photo that Libby may have already had on her phone. That one might be easier to prove than the 207 photo is a fake. But and then saying that the movement, that the Abby on the bridge in the video is also faked. You would have to prove that. And as a defense team, that's wasting a lot of resources and a lot of money to maybe not get the result you want, versus taking what we do have forensically factual to prove Rick innocent. Starting with the phone data and the movement of the phone. And I'm not trying to discredit anybody's theory about what they believed happened. I'm no tech genius whatsoever. I'm more of a calculations, it's order of events, sequence, research, put it all together and make it make sense type person. The tech stuff, I understand what you guys are saying, but you would have to prove it in front of a jury. And that, I think, is going to be a mountain too steep to climb, unless there is some miraculous person who comes along with factual information, just like what was taking place at Ron Logan's on the 12th. Everybody can talk about it. We've never seen a photograph. If you're having a militia meeting, we're then expected to believe that all of the people who attended never once came forward when Ron Logan became a suspect and said, holy shit, I was just on his property last night or the night before. We had a party there. And so we've got to pick and choose our battles here. I know that this is all important discussions. So I don't want anybody to feel like I'm declining to entertain your theory at all. I just want to prove Rick innocent, and I want to know what happened to those girls that day. And I really want to know who did it, and I want to see him pay for it. Simple as that. And speaking of Ron Logan and that whole theory, that is Ron Logan being involved, Ron Logan's property being involved. Oh, okay, Shabugs, thank goodness, because I'm like, how in the hell is he getting another juror to speak out? I wish a juror would contact me, and pro guilty or pro innocent, I would give them a platform. Hell, I would even, turn comments off so they wouldn't feel intimidated or bashed during the live stream. If any juror ever listens and wants to come on, the welcome sign is out. But with Ron Logan, there's things about that version of that story I have problems with. The handcuffing, Yes, proving Brick innocent and proving who did it are absolutely two different things, Michael. And that's why I'm saying that's exactly how I feel. It's going to be the only way that we're ever going to find out who did this is if we have DNA or a confession. And right now, the only option in going down that avenue is DNA. Because whoever did do it feels that they've gotten away with it this long and they're going to continue. I have a hypothesis. No, I can't name not one shred of evidence in this case that's not tainted, not one story, not one portion of the timeline, especially in between the hours of 1 o'clock on the 13th and noon on the 14th. Every single aspect of this case either has a absurd coincidence connected to it, or the story has changed 100 times. But going back to the Ron Logan here, one of the main things with the Ron Logan conundrum that I have is the going back to the story that Ron Logan told, and that is he handcuffed the girls wrist to wrist. On the way back to his property, there was like a scuffle that ensued between him and Libby, and Abby broke free. And that was when he first injured Abby. And apparently she hit him in the nose and got his blood on her tie-dye shirt. Well, Libby was wearing a sweatshirt. Remember that. So how would Ron's blood have gotten on her tie-dye shirt? And how would he have been able to control both of them? I know that he threatened, according to the story, he threatened Libby, so Abby came back. But he's still only one man, and he's a big man, but I'm sure he's not as fast as these two teenage girls. So that's one scenario that I have a problem with. That sequence of events. Where was Libby's sweatshirt at that point in time? And that was the reason for the t-shirt going into the creek, was because Ron's DNA was on it. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that all of the DNA would have been lost. The state says he had a gun, but no one else said he had a gun. I mean, there's no that be a gun. That was a made up story. And that's another problem that I have with this case is law enforcement being able to get on the stand and tell the jury what was said in the video before the jury even heard the video. That's a serious problem. If there's a new trial and the bridge video is not brought in, but it's no longer an issue. Hey, Trial Junkie, I'm not sure what you mean. No defense wounds. Teresa, we talked about that earlier on, about the defense wounds and the lack of them. And then the whole changing of the guard after the girls were taken back to Ron Logan's house, because it's really kind of cloudy. Supposedly Keegan drove to Ron Logan's house, parked behind or hid the car, and then walked halfway through the woods to meet them. And then Ron Logan left and was destroying phones on his way to Lafayette to buy fish. So when and who actually killed Libby? We know, we were told that she was put in the barn. So there's a lot of holes in that story as well. I have a hypothesis. Please come on here. You can share your screen and show us. You're saying the bridge guy video is two videos merged into one, and that is provable. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. I believe we hear maybe two different voices in Guy's down the hill. When you listen to it with earbuds, it sounds like one voice is coming from one side and the other voice is coming from the other. Like, please, I will give you the platform. You don't have to show your face. Show us. I want someone to show me proof that there was a party at Ron's house on the night of the 12th. There is, I mean, I have probably thousands of screenshots from back in 2017 surrounding this crime. And I have not ever had one where they've told me, or were not told me, but wrote online, I was just at Ron's for a party. There's people who say there was a party there. And then I was also told that Brad Holder supposedly had a militia meeting at Ron Logan's property when Ron Logan was in prison. And where's the proof of that? Was Brad Holder communicating with Ron Logan while Ron Logan was in prison? That's provable.
The other thing with Ron Logan is the phone. Remember, there was a phone near the bridge that contacted his Wi-Fi. You remember that one?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Unknown phone number 3, I think it was, phoned Ron Logan's Wi-Fi point.
Well, we know,
and the police identified unknown phone 3 as Ron Logan's cell phone. And if so, that means Ron Logan's phone was next to the bridge calling Ron Logan's house.
Well, they do. The FBI search warrant does say that Ron Logan's phone was in the vicinity of the bridge. I believe it was at 208.
Yeah.
And then there's also 2 other issues with Ron's phone out by the crime scene later that night. Critical Thinker says no party. 209 fanboy goddess says 209. I know I thought it was 208 or 209. Those numbers kind of run together because the 208 white vehicle on the private drive, there's a lot of things going on at that exact time. The 207 photo. Yes, the whispers in the beginning of the video. And hey, Travis.
Believing the content of the conversation, we know Libby had been there several times. So why on earth would she be saying things like, there's no path down there, we'll have to go this way? She knew that there is a path down. What's being said just doesn't fit with what Libby knew.
That exactly. Libby saying that to me, and that, it can go either way. When you try to fathom this crossing of the bridge and the 6 minutes and hypothetically, guys, the 207 photo is real. Libby or Abby was there. Took her 6 minutes and 38 seconds to get to where she was on the bridge at 2:13 when the video started. If somebody approached them, this goes back to Daniel Pearson. I 1,000,000% believe it was Daniel Pearson standing on the first platform that Betsy Blair saw. There is 2, and that's another reason Skip's got to come back on here. There's too much pointing to Daniel being on the trails before he said he was. The white truck he was driving that day, the lies and the changing of the story that he gave, him contacting police on the 14th before the bodies were even found, trying to point directions, point law enforcement at different people. And he fits the young bridge guy sketch to a freaking T. So if you believe the girls were back on the trail when right here at 1:51, okay, Betsy Blair is already at the bridge. She's already at the barrier. She's already seeing the young bridge guy. She would have been turning around, coming back. She would have passed the girls. Where did the young bridge guy go? Did he come? This is always a debate. Did he come off the bridge? Did he, Daniel Pearson, being out there all the time, knowing the bridge? Shit, he had just shot an abduction video of a girl off the bridge. Did he know that there was a secret hiding spot down underneath the north end of the bridge? Did he hide? Because now, if you go back, here's a kicker. I have text messages of Daniel Pearson from way back when talking about this day. And he brings up the fact that he doesn't believe what law enforcement is saying about Keegan Kline because he played football when they were younger with Keegan Kline.
Amy,
Yes.
you've been out there. How long would it take you to walk from Mia's lot to the bridge?
It takes, if you start, I started at the gate, the red gate that's now closed so no one can park there, which is exactly where Kelsey said she pulled up, because she said that she didn't pull in. She just pulled up along 300 and the front of her car was still facing the road and she let the girls out. So walking literally from 300 at a normal pace, not a slow pace, but not a brisk walking pace, you get to the very first platform of the bridge within 7 to 7.5 minutes. So we know that Betsy Blair parked at least by 1:47 and 8 seconds. She passed the Hoosier Harvest Store camera at 1:46. It's literally a 30-second drive from where that camera is on the side of the building to the Mears lot. Time to pull in, pull up, park, get out, and start walking. That puts her at the Monon High Bridge at the barrier at about 1:54, 1:55. So did young bridge guy follow Betsy Blair off the bridge, pass the girls with Betsy Blair, and then you turn around and follow the girls? Because we know he still wasn't on the bridge in that 205 photo, if we believe the 205 photo is real. So
well, if you back up a bit, so Betsy Blair was at the bridge at 1:54, yeah?
1:54, 1:55-ish, yes.
Okay. And as you can see from the picture you've got up at the moment, the girls are supposed to have been on the trails 1:51.
Correct.
How didn't she see them?
She claims that she thinks she passed them when she came back when she turned around and came back.
How didn't she see them the other direction?
I don't know. I don't know how Kelsey and Betsy Blair didn't run smack dab into each other at Mears.
Yeah.
And mind you, if you believe Dr. Walla, Richard Allen was sitting right here. If you back up the trail to the intersection to go right out to the Mears lot, right there where that white dot is, to the left of it is the bench that overlooks the creek and the Mary Gerard Trail. According to Dr. Walla, Rick Allen was sitting there, saw the girls, and followed them. So who the fuck did Betsy Blair see on the first platform?
Yeah. Where it says 1:51, bear in mind that that's got a radius of 5 meters. Now, if you look at that picture, 5 meters can take you well into the trees, can't it?
It can.
Yeah. Or if you
Which-
take that second line you got of 78.3 meters, it takes you pretty close to that, doesn't it?
It does. And guys, if you remember months ago, this 78.3 meters, this line right here that's running parallel with the Mears lot, the reason that it's notated on here is because we have photographs of this entire area right here having been crime scene taped off. And you see the orange balloon in the center of that. It's pointing to an old tractor that was sitting there. So we've always wanted to know, why was this area right here crime scene taped off and never talked about? Then down here where Betsy Blair is standing, seeing the young bridge guy, she turns around and comes back. Right in that area, a clump of hair was found. All of these things have think about all of this. All of these things have taken place in just one case. So, there's
Just a
still.
quickie.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Asbrook says they were not geocaching on the 12th. According to Kelsey, when she picked up Libby from the overnight, she took Libby to the trails and they did a bit of geocaching. Very quick part, but that's what she said. And that was on the 12th.
Yeah, she did say that. Yep.
Yeah.
And that was the interview where she talked about there being a geocache out by 300 and one being down the side of at the north end of the bridge.
Yeah.
So
the amount of time that she spent out there, I would have said that they were looking at the geocaching next to the 300, to be honest.
Yeah, Kelsey, I'm sorry, but Kelsey is a serious problem. I'm not throwing daggers. All I'm saying is her story has changed 5,000 times for unnecessary reasons. And what that girl accomplished in 2 hours after dropping these girls off is absolutely incredible. She went to her boyfriend's. They went to lunch. They went to lunch with friends. They hand washed his car. She got ready at his house to go to work. She watched a movie with his dad. All these things are, she's a liar. And let's not question her. And I'm going to lose my phone on the way to the police station. And I'm going to use Bree's phone to log in to and this is something that I just put on Twitter the other day. I'm going to access all of Libby's accounts, but I'm going to make sure I let everyone know that I didn't use Libby's accounts to communicate with anybody. So that means she logged into Libby's Facebook, she logged into Libby's Twitter, and instead of just right there going in Libby's account and saying, "Hey, this is Kelsey, Libby's sister. We can't find her. Have you seen her?" No, she was so mindful that she needed to use Bree's phone and go back in and look up the people that she just seen that Libby was communicating with and contact them directly. Or was there communication that was deleted? It's so frustrating. But back to, we got Richard Allen on the bench. He was an alcoholic twice, but drank 3 beers and was intoxicated. I find that grown man, I don't care how short he is, completely impossible. But he's sitting here on the bench. Betsy Blair doesn't see him.
Well, don't forget he was seen on the trail, right at the top of the trails, a minute before his car went past the store's camera, as well.
Correct.
I'm not quite sure how he was driving that car.
Well, and I'm not sure how he's ordering the girls down the hill when Rayleigh Voorhees said that she's seen him out by the end of the trails at 2:15.
But then you've got Bree saying that she was home before the girls got to Mia's.
Right. Well,
They can't get their story straight.
no, and here we are 9 years later with no answers after a trial and a 135-year conviction. It's absolutely there. I mean, there's no words for it. It is an injustice beyond. So,
He's a patsy to shut the whole lot down.
He is absolutely, and that's another reason why that Tina Garrison report is important, because that report was turned in on the same day that Kathy Skank found the lost tip.
And when you look at how many people on the trial there, it was like Piccadilly Circus. Nobody saw anybody.
No, nobody saw anybody. Betsy Blair was there Betsy Blair had to pass at least five, 6 people, and she saw no one but the young bridge guy, which maybe no one stood out significantly other than the fact that this dude standing out on this platform, a scary platform. But I take her word over the teenagers, because all of the teenagers had a different description. The height, what the person was wearing, all of their descriptions were different. And, Betsy Blair, described the guy, she said 10 out of 10. Oh, hi, Mary Beth. Thanks, Mary Beth, for being a new member. So yeah, whoever was on that first platform, if the guy on the first platform was dressed like the guy in the BG video, okay, we can't see his face. It appears in the video or in the still image that he looks older, but there's no guarantee when you have an eyewitness saying she saw him, looked in his face, and described him. Clean shaven, brown, poofy, curly hair, good looking. That describes Daniel Pearson. And
bear in mind, he wasn't the only one who saw the young guy on the bridge. Yeah?
There's others that we can't talk about.
Well, we can mention Carl Abbott, who was kayaking under the bridge and saw him.
That's right. I forgot all about that. Carl Abbott being on. Yeah, Carl Abbott was kayaking.
If I remember right, Carl was also involved in the Young Boy sketch.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The clothes is the dead ringer for describing BG. It's the face that no one can seem to get accurate. And I get the fact that the BG, the still image of the BG, he looks older. His body structure looks older. I don't know. I just don't know. It's not Rick Allen. It doesn't look like Rick Allen at all. And to me, the girls not seeming afraid is an indicator that either they recognized him, they knew him from somewhere, which again, Daniel Pearson knew the girls. I know some people don't think that the bridge guy in the video is Daniel Pearson. Okay, but we were talking about the changing of the guards here on this dude on the first platform in a matter of minutes. and trucking it across that bridge. So either the guy on the first platform turned immediately, because I mean, you go back and you look at the phone. What's this phone doing? She's checking for something. Screen on, screen off, screen on, screen off, screen on, screen off. Snapchat in the foreground, phone unlocked. Snapchat in the foreground. All of these things that are going on, she's waiting, or she's telling somebody something. And all of that information is not public to us. Screen on, screen off, screen on, screen off. I mean, she's running the hell down out of her battery, knowing that she's supposed to be out there hiking for whatever, and she's got to make a phone call or get a phone call from her ride. I just can't see a 14-year-old girl who is on her phone 24/7 allowing her phone to go that low without a backup. And I mean, that's just based off experience of raising three teenagers. I mean, their phone is their heartbeat. Thank you, Mother of Dragons, for the super sticker. So Shabuk says he came from the goddamn South Side. No one saw him. That would mean. That is absolutely a possibility, but that would mean the man that was on the first, these are all of the checks that you have to check the boxes with. That means when Abby and Libby are approaching the Monon High Bridge, okay, that the guy, are you saying the guy that was on the first platform turned and went down to the south end of the bridge and stayed there until the girls got midway across the bridge and then began his trek across? Because Daniel Pearson and nobody else claimed to be the dude on the first platform past the girls leaving. If they passed the girls leaving, I mean, wouldn't they have came forth as a witness? So a takeaway that I get from the BG video as well is when the girls are on that bridge and there's that 6-minute delay, were they approached by somebody from the south end? Maybe it could have been the same person that was on the first platform who had been communicating with them, knew they had arrived, and got to the south end of the bridge before they actually made it to the north end and took that 205 photo. Then he waits for them to get on the bridge, starts to approach them and pulls some bullshit like, you guys aren't supposed to be up here. You need to go over there and get off the bridge. And is that Libby, as she's getting off at the south end, playing stupid like she didn't know they weren't supposed to be on the bridge when she had been yelled at before by Kay Weber for being on Kay Weber's property? She knew that Kay Weber and them were funny about their land. So was she like, well, there's no path that goes here, so we have to go down here, like trying to play it off like she just got caught and got yelled at? Is that a way to take the wording in the BG video? I don't know. There's so many ways that you can look at this.
The only way you can't look at that video is that it was a kidnap. There's nothing there that fits for that, the way they behaved.
Big J says Addison Sandiford and all her cousins and brother and sister knew the girls and the bridge and all around the property and the direct access to the private drive. I believe that. All them kids did.
And as Redacted said a little bit earlier, why leave the phone there? 100% behind you, Redacted, on that. We went to great pains to make sure that phone was protected and could be found. That's insane. Unless there's something on it you really want found.
That's a good way to look at it too. That's a damn good way to look at it. And the fact that BB seeing a young bridge guy with poofy hair make it more or less likely RA is guilty. It doesn't. What matters is the fact that we're going to be able to prove how many people were on the trails and where they were and when and how they would. I mean, when we went over how many times Betsy Blair should have encountered that 4-girl group that day. But for whatever reason,
I don't believe Betsy Blair did the walks that she said she did.
I don't
think
either.
she's bigging herself up a little bit there.
Well, we know that she couldn't have done her 3rd loop like she said she did and been seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store camera at 2:18. She wasn't even halfway to Mears after that 3rd. When you do the walk and you walk it briskly, if she walked it slower, she would have been even further behind. But when you walk it briskly at 2:15, you are just passing the midway point from the start of the trails to the Mears lot. There's no way that she did that whole 3rd loop. Doesn't make her a liar. It just changes the narrative that the state gave. And when you have a juror saying publicly, who else could it have been? Rick Allen was the only one out there.
But actually, no, from the list that we've been doing, it was,
No.
as I said, it's like Piccadilly Circus. There was backwards and forwards all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just impossible they did not see each other. Lots of them. Girl groups, men, loads of them.
How does authenticity of photos or videos make it more or less likely RA is guilty? Because it goes to the timeline, and if either one or any are a fake, that's a problem. That is a problem. And for 7 years, we were told what was on that video was horrific. And for 7 years, we were told that Jerry Holman heard the girls having girl talk. And you've got Kelsey claiming that she saw other pictures of the girls on the bridge that day at that time that have never been seen by any of us. Go listen to Infamous Indy, where Kelsey's giving an interview where she's saying, I saw the picture of Abby and I saw the picture of Libby on the bridge leaning down. Well, where's that picture? And where's the 207 picture? And if you've got people on the trails that the jury never heard about, all of this matters. And if Rick Allen is guilty, just lay all the cards on the table and prove it. Show us everything.
Well, not one of the pictures or the video prove Richard Allen. Not one of the witnesses, by their original descriptions, saw Richard Allen.
Yeah,
So
there's no
really, the
DNA.
only thing that convicted him was, well, who else could it be? Apart from the thousands of others walking there.
There's no DNA. Oberg testified, she had to fire the gun, 5 times to get indications to even resemble something similar to this unspent bullet. The state has changed their narrative as this case has evolved. They told us there was that be a gun. They told us we would hear a gun racking. Well, if that is what is on that video, and that bullet was racked and ejected from a gun at the south end of the bridge, tell us how it got to the crime scene. And then tell us why Rick's gun was the only gun that had to be fired to get a match when there were multiple other guns that were collected that couldn't be excluded, but they weren't forced fire to get a match. I mean, there's so many reasons there's so many other things about this case that point away from Rick Allen. Nothing points to Rick Allen other than the fact that he was there. And you know what? He didn't even have to tell his wife he was there. If Rick Allen was this man and he went for all these years not saying a fucking word to anybody, Why did he have to tell his wife he was even out there? Why would he even have to go? If not telling Kathy meant he would have never had to have been told or been made to go in and tell the law enforcement that he was there. There's so many things about this case that need that the dirty laundry needs to come out. All of the discovery, all of the evidence needs to be put on display for the world to see what was done in this case. And like I said, the state had to pull a shit ton of shenanigans from day one until the end of the trial to get this conviction. And witnesses like witnesses like Betsy Blair are significant to me for the mere fact that she was believable enough for law enforcement to make themselves look like complete and utter idiots by holding the 2019 press conference and coming out with a whole new direction, a whole new sketch, which was Betsy Blair's sketch, who they wanted everybody now to start looking for this person, but they didn't want you to hear that Betsy Blair passed the CPS building and didn't see Rick's car. Well,
Can't hear you, Amy.
to get down 300 and then cut across the road in broad daylight.
You went blank for quite a while there, Amy.
Huh?
Amy, you went blank for quite a while there. We lost what you were saying.
Oh shoot, I'm sorry. Where did I leave off?
Not sure.
I was talking about the drive, and bottom line, Muddy Bloody Guy could not have gotten all the way down 300, ducked and dodged in behind farms, down tree lines, all the way down to the CPS building, drove. Well, the state never told us how he got home, which direction he went. Did he go back the way that they claimed that he came, the long way around, or did he go through town? State didn't bother giving us an example of that, knowing they had how many cameras from town? We now know that they have cameras from properties off of 300 that could have easily shown this was Rick leaving. Rick was Muddy Bloody Guy, but Rick could not be Muddy Bloody Guy, get to his car and get back home, clean the car and get rid of his clothes and be asleep on the couch at 5 o'clock when Kathy got home. It was not enough time.
Forensically clean it, not just clean it.
Right. Eye of Apothis says, can someone answer a question for me? Why is it a stretch that someone who murdered 2 girls would have the audacity to forge evidence? I don't think that's impossible at all. It's how. And the stretch is having a way to prove it. There are plenty of indicators here that there's shit doesn't sit right with all of this, but it's proving it.
Well, again, it's possible, but it would naturally require that this was a planned action, which you would have had to have prepared this sort of stuff before.
Right, and that takes you into it. That takes it into a much more deeper space for me. Not that it was planned, because I do believe that who was out there knew the girls were coming. He's the.
But that then is interfered with by the fact that it's been made out that it was a spur of the moment thing. Right,
fully prepared to engage two, not one, but 2 girls, and we've got, I don't know how much digital forensic evidence from Rick's home, and nothing points into CSAM. or this, or him being sexually targeting victims in the same place he lives. But for evidence like this to be planted or to be done, I would have to say, then you're getting into the realm of snuff film for something along that line.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that people knew that Libby and Abby were going to the trials, but I'm not sure that they knew exactly when.
Shabogs, that would mean, for me, that would be for all of the different rabbit holes that we go down, the Ron Logan scenario, the Odin scenario, now, the revenge scenario, and all that I'll save it for next vault. We always need things to talk about. So, there's, and I'm hoping that I have a guest on here soon that has, some information directly from some of the family. That's, it's not new information, but it's just, it's interesting. And I mean, I have a hypothesis. The invitation stands, please. I would love for you to show your work. And I think in real time with your, with your voice, explain it. I know your shadow man videos are great, but I have a hard time following them sometimes. It's, I still want to know what you mean by Abby on the Bridge as a photo album. So, well, Quester, we've been on here for 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I'm going to hop off and make dinner. And I'm going to let you go because I know it's getting late over there across the pond.
Yep. It's gone 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. So guys,
8:15.
So guys, stay tuned. We are putting together a big presentation on the timeline. Again, this one's going to be a little bit different. Yeah, it's 3:15 here, Shabugs. I know, Veronica, I'm sorry. You have to go back and listen. Sorry, baby. Guys, please hit that. Thanks, Sherry. Please hit that like and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, there's the barcode up there. You can just scan it that way. I have to go back to work for 3 weeks. I have to save my FMLA. So I go back to work Tuesday, and then my surgery's on the 15th, and then I'll be off for a while. But we are still working on this presentation to do this little mini marathon. And if anybody wants a segment on the marathon, let me know. You'd have to put together your own presentation to share. And I would work it into the day of the marathon and give you a block of time and put a schedule out beforehand. So yes, I think we all are frustrated, but hey, Indy, Cindy, hit that like and subscribe and share, guys. So Angry Killjoy says, instead of constantly analyzing phone and video, why not research things like time it takes to get frostbite, strength it takes to move a body, how anyone could slit throats of 2 girls. Well, we've been discussing that, and I did Angry Killjoy, I did say I'm working on a segment to just discuss the crime scene itself, because that's one area that we haven't discussed thoroughly. And part of that is because, we're limited on information, photography wise, and we have to go on the state's narrative. So, yeah, how long does it take? Has long. Yeah, we talked about the temperature and all of that earlier on. I don't know if you were here, but the body's freezing, the clothes freezing, the girls being restrained. We talked about all of that earlier. You must not have been here. So thanks everybody for being here. And we will see you guys next time. Bye, Quester.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Amy.
Bye. See you later.